Hello, Devin Salmon here from TTCI, bringing you another video about the NUCARS UI and how it can help you speed up your building process and creating your sys files, your pre-processing a little bit quicker, get those models running a little bit faster. Today we're going to cover a little bit about the copy and move functions that are within the UI. I'm going to show you how to copy a truck that maybe you've built from scratch in a new model so that you don't have to recreate it on the second truck going forward, and then also creating a second car and then maybe manipulating a few pieces of that car so that you can quickly get a two-car simulation if that's what you're interested in. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Okay, so what we've got here is the E-hopper model, and you can see that I've removed one of the trucks from it. I did that for this explanation, this video. I wanted to go ahead and show you how to first copy the truck and how all the connections are going to go ahead and be duplicated and keep their relationship to the main body and all the other components that you've copied. So I'm going to start off here. I'm going to hide this main body just so I can get it out of the way. And I'm going to zoom in here and copy all these connections and all these bodies. So I can pretty easily go up here and choose to copy translate. There's two options. The other thing you can do is within the 3D window, once you have your bodies highlighted and your connections, you can go over here to right click and that'll bring up this context window. And you can choose to copy and XYZ translate or P2P, which stands for point to point translation. So that'll actually create the copy and then translate it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to XYZ translate this one because it starts at 0, 0. So doing the point to point doesn't make a whole lot of sense in this case. So it's brought up the context window. So now I've got all my bodies. I'm going to go ahead and move them back. I looked up the value for the X truck, the leading wheel set in the old E-hopper model, which was minus 486, and hit OK. And as you can see, we have a brand new truck. Now these copied bodies get added. Copied bodies gets put in as a copy at the bottom of the list. So you're going to have to go through and do some work to rename a lot of these things if that's important to you, and tracking that's important to you. Otherwise, all these connections are linked together with their new bodies. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to go ahead and bring back the main body in this model. And so if I click here, you can see that the side frame and the wheel set are connected, the new copied ones, in the same way that they were connected in the first truck. Okay, so that was a really good instructional way to show how the copy function is pretty practical for a truck, which is a pretty reasonable thing that you're going to want to copy if you've spent all the time designing the first truck in NUCARS and making sure that it worked properly. The next thing you might want to do is, what if you wanted to do a two-car simulation? And so in that case, you'd want to be able to just have the new car within your existing model. So in the past, you would have had to copy paste a whole set on top of that, or do some other more manual work. Well, today we have the ability to actually copy this whole car. So as you can see, I've highlighted the whole thing. I've looked at the location of the coupler to ground at the back of this one. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and just show you the point to point because it's a little bit different way of doing things. Brings up two spots. So the first one is the source. That's the first location. So for instance, if your truck, you knew your truck was at the center bowl location where you copied it, you could put in the center bowl location and then put in the second center bowl, the trailing center bowl, in order to get the offset. And NUCARS will go ahead and do the math. For the sake of simplicity here, I'm just going to go ahead and leave the source point at 0, 0, 0 and then offset everything from there. So let's say this new car, the coupler to ground connection in the back was minus 592. So we're going to offset a little bit from that just to give it a little space. It may not be, completely accurate to the real world, but I'm just trying to give you a demonstration of something right now. So let's go ahead and say that this thing is minus 615 inches from the front. And you can see right there, we've kind of got a side-by-side truck. So this maybe isn't quite enough even for my little demonstration. So I've got everything highlighted right now. So actually what I'm going to go ahead and do is just translate that body back a little bit further. So let's go back another 50 inches. Okay, that's looking a little better in terms of an actual simulation and maybe the way the trucks might be spaced. Though the main bodies are a little bit long, so I can actually highlight both of these and shrink them down. So let's make them more like 600 inches. Yeah, okay, that's working a little bit better. So now you can kind of see the way that these two cars now sit right next to each other. Well, what if one of the cars is a short car and the other one's a long car? Then what might we want to do? Well, if we pretend that the first car is the short car in this series, what we might want to do is, well, let's just say this thing got a little bit longer. So we're going to offset the center of gravity. Let's offset that by 60 inches, and we're going to make the whole thing about 10 feet longer. So what you're going to see is minus 1,003 inches. And we're going to make this thing just a little bit longer. Like I said, increase it by 10 feet, so 720 there. Okay. And we're going to hide this body so that we can go ahead and move this truck by the 10 feet that we're thinking. So I'm going to go ahead and XYZ translate this one again. I'm going to go minus 120. Okay. So now what we should be seeing when I re-show all the bodies, so we've got that longer car. And for some reason, I've got the geometric center and the actual center offset from each other. So I need to go in here to make the visual work out. Minus 1,003. There we go. Okay. So now we've got the long and short car in there. You can see they're a little bit different. And so a couple notes just on this video. We did give you a really quick and dirty way to make the simulation ready to go, and you could actually dump it into a file and get it going. A couple things that I didn't cover in this video. If you're going to do a two-car simulation like we talked about, you actually need to connect the two cars via a coupler or some other mechanism if you're doing like an articulated truck or something like that. So I haven't covered that piece in this video. The other thing that I haven't done is I elongated the second car and changed some of its parameters. If you do that, you are going to want to make sure that at least the inertias and some of the other properties of the body have been updated based on the car that you're trying to model. Otherwise, you've still got that same short car, but it just looks longer in the simulation, though it's going to act exactly like that short car because NUCARS doesn't work on the display. It actually works on the inertia values and the mass values that you provided. So something to be aware of, and just wanted to make sure that those couple items were covered before anybody gets started. So keep up with the bookkeeping if that's important to you, and make sure your mass and inertia values are updated. All right, thanks a lot.